Hey, dear Square Enix. What the fuck?
Yeah, so there was an article posted on IGN today about how Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy 15 won't probably be released around the same time. So
yes, according to this article, they interviewed the Kingdom Hearts series producer. Excuse me if I pronounce this wrong, but I don't know Japanese. Shinji Hashimoto, and he told IGN that having what's his name?
Tetsuya Nomura.
Yeah, he's directing both Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts 3, and he said it would have an impact. And he said that they can't create two big games at the same exact time. And also, he said that they basically only announced Kingdom Hearts 3 just to kind of shut everybody up, because everybody was speculating whether they've been actually working on it or not. And so, it's very unclear how far Kingdom Hearts 3 is in development. They said at E3 that it was, early, but how early? How far are they into it? And it's also unclear how far Final Fantasy 15 is into development. And so we're here to just discuss our, thoughts on this and our, frustrations with Square Enix. And, what's your say?
I figured as much with this, because, Final Fantasy 15, previously known as Final Fantasy Versus 13, was, they said way back when people first started asking really about Kingdom Hearts 3, they were focusing on Final Fantasy Versus 13, and that they weren't going to put out Kingdom Hearts 3 until that game was done. Just now that Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy 15 doesn't change anything. They're going to want to get that done before they do that. Now the part that's frustrating is Kingdom Hearts 15, or I keep saying that, Final Fantasy 15 has been in development since either 2006 or 2007.
Just looked it up. May 2006. It's been in development.
It's been in development for just about 7.5 years now. And so, I can understand how it'd be difficult, because I know Square Enix, they're making Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13. They have to upkeep the new Final Fantasy 14. They're making 15. They're making Kingdom Hearts 3. They have a Kingdom Hearts Online game that I just recently found out about that they're upkeeping. They're starting to work on a Tomb Raider sequel. And then there's possibility of a Kingdom Hearts 2.5 HD remake, since today 1.5 came out. So they have a lot on their plate. I understand, but still, it doesn't reduce my frustration.
Here's where the frustration for me comes in, is that Final Fantasy 15 or Versus 13 should be fucking out by now. It should not take 7.5, 8 years, 9 years to make a game. I understand that games are difficult to make, they cost a lot, but the cost for this game has to be through the fucking roof right now, after developing it for so long. Some companies tank just because they developed the game for 3 or 4 years, and then it won't sell as well. And we know, yeah, people are excited for this game, but Final Fantasy does not sell as well as it used to back in the day. And I just feel that, once Final Fantasy 15 comes out, yeah, it might be a good game, but it won't, blow everybody away or anything. It'll be like, well, you wasted all this fucking time for nothing. To me, that's where the frustration comes in. 15 should have been out years ago, and Kingdom Hearts 3 should be out, now, or something, I just feel like, yeah, they have a lot going on, Square Enix, like Keith was just saying. But I feel like when it comes to these two games, they've been just sitting around scratching their nuts for the past 7 fucking years. And that's just, I don't know. I read a comment today that said that, while Final Fantasy 15 has been in development, Rockstar has made Red Dead Redemption, a huge DLC, Grand Theft Auto 4, 2 huge expansion packs, and Grand Theft Auto 5. And Rockstar takes a long time to make their games. That's just absolutely fucking outrageous. And those games actually turn out to be good. And it's just, it just makes me shake my head, what is Square Enix doing? Yeah, they have these games coming out, and it's not that they're bad games by any means. You know, we just picked up 1.5 Kingdom Hearts today, and it's a great game. But it's like they announce this shit, but they give absolutely no timetable when it's supposed to come out. Usually, you know, I don't know. Look at, they announced, for example, Destiny, and they said it's coming sometime in 2014. You know, okay, we have something to look forward to. They announced Final Fantasy 15, they're just like, whenever the fuck it's done, we'll put it out. It's just like, you know, give us a year for fuck's sakes. Like, it's kind of frustrating. But Tomb Raider is made by Crystal Dynamics, which Square Enix just publishes that, so that's not really part of Square Enix's crew, I guess. But to add on top of this stuff, they're making, I don't know if I mentioned Final Fantasy X too.
Oh, I forgot about
making that. But I don't know. These games just, in my opinion, should have been out by now, and it's just very frustrating that they probably won't be out. At least Final Fantasy 15, which I assume will come first. They probably won't be. I would not be surprised if it's not until 2015. You know, but I do have to respect them and give it to them for wanting to make their games perfect in their eyes, and you know, really put out the best game and not rush it. But what happened? Why is this game taking so long? I just don't understand. Final Fantasy 15, I mean. I don't understand.
Well, a couple of things that I wanted to add to my argument, which was, I mean, they've kind of said where they're kind of at with both games, in a way. They, I mean, Final Fantasy 15, by what I saw at E3, I mean, I kind of disagree. I could see it coming out next year, maybe. But I feel like, especially with how they know how people are, whatever it is, it's not like they're gonna announce it. It's like they announce like a release date at the end of this year. They're gonna be like, boom! If they announce it, let's say in December, they're gonna be like, boom! It's coming out like April or May. Like, I don't want to get that game out. But then so I see it not taking as long. And also, Kingdom Hearts 3, they're decently long. I heard they've already tested. They've been testing out the new graphics, which is, you know, what you saw at the E3 demo. They're testing out the brand new graphics with the new game engine, and they're doing all kinds of shit like that. So, and they've almost got the story written, I've heard. So, I mean, it's just, you know, creating the game. But what I think that just because of all the problems that they've been giving, that I think would be cool, which I don't care if it happens either way. If some miracle, like let's say Final Fantasy 15 will probably come out. What I think that they should do is in Kingdom Hearts 3, just for the hell of it, throw Final Fantasy 15 guys, or do something kind of the opposite that they've been doing, and in Final Fantasy 15 throw Kingdom Hearts reference in there. I would nerd the fuck out of that. Or another weird thing, which would be random to happen, which I think would almost help Final Fantasy 15. Put Kingdom Hearts 3 out first, but then do as I said. Put a Final Fantasy 15 character in. It's like, oh, here, boom, we're gonna hype up this game. You know, boom, this game's almost done, but we put the game that you wanted out first. Here you go. So, I mean, I've been waiting 6-7 years for Kingdom Hearts 3. I guess I could wait a little longer.
That's another thing, is that just people have been waiting so long, at least for Kingdom Hearts 3, but Square Enix has just kind of put it to the side, and then they just announced the game way too early. I mean, it's cool. They're making it. Everybody's happy that it'll eventually come out, but it's just, they should be out by now.
But I mean, it's not like they haven't been putting out Kingdom Hearts content. There's been, since 2, they've put out, if you don't count like remakes, they've put out 4 games since then. 4 decently good games. That, like, 2 of them I would even say are as good as some of the main story games. So I mean, it's not like they just said nope, no Kingdom Hearts. So I mean, it's not like they're not trying.
And yeah, I mean, I have no doubt that, you know, all these games that Square Enix is going to put out are going to be good games. I mean, they consistently put out good games. It just takes them an insane amount of time for certain games to come out, which is just ridiculous. No game should take 8 years to develop.
Yep. Not even
That's just my opinion. Yeah, I mean, don't have it turn out that movie. But I have no doubt that at least, I know Final Fantasy 15 will be huge, but Kingdom Hearts 3 will be one of the biggest games in next generation, without a doubt.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, that's about it. This is just us discussing, ranting, talking about, Square Enix's situation. So,